Back on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. Thank you for tuning in today. Joining us on the phones, our next guest, Republican strategist, Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Chad. How you doing?
It's doing great. It's a big day out there. Lots of news. Obviously, we'll start with the debate stuff. Presidential debate tonight. What are your expectations? What are the possible pitfalls for the president and for Joe Biden in tonight's debate?
Yeah, to me, the overarching question is how does Joe Biden do tonight? Is he up to this? Is he sharp enough? Can he get his points across? Does he make any major mistakes? I think most people watching are going to be watching to see how he does.
Yeah.
Really not Trump. I think we all have a pretty good sense at this point of what the president offers in these kinds of settings. If you're Biden, I think you want to make the president play defense. This tax story is a new area to go into, certainly on COVID and the COVID response. I think that's another area they're going to want to try to get him to play defense on. But overall, in spite of whatever he's done, 10 or 11 days of debate prep this month, I just have to wonder about whether he's really going to be able to be sharp enough tonight to demonstrate to the American people that he is prepared to be president of the United States. 4, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, there probably wasn't much question about that. But if you just look over the last few months, the constant, just basic mistakes he's making, the reliance on the teleprompter, the lack of travel, the lack of questions from reporters, the lack of interviews, it's really pretty striking. It almost looks like he's not even trying to win or trying to run for president. He's just sort of wasting time. Can't do that tonight. He's got nowhere to hide. He's got an hour and a half. He's got probably the toughest interview in the business. He's across from the president, who's highly unpredictable, who's very aggressive, who wants to make him play defense on his long record, on left-wing positions that his party is going to demand that he pursue, on crime in our cities, on his tax increase, on his business or his family's business in China and in the Ukraine. So I think both sides are going to be attacking a lot tonight. And I saw Brett Baer from Fox News predicted a television audience of 90 million people, which would be astounding if that's what it turns out to be.
Yeah. I remember when we had you on after the Democrat National Convention, it was a forgettable speech by Biden, but it was one, and I remember what you said, the bar was set so low, that he didn't faceplant. And that's what everybody, that's when people think of Biden, they think of a guy who can't hold it together. He can still read a teleprompter, and that's going to be the main difference. He won't have a teleprompter this go around. Is the bar still set too low for Joe?
It is, and to the extent that, if Biden does well tonight, one of the sort of criticisms is going to be that the Trump campaign, lowered expectations, and that as long as he can just literally stand there and not drool, maybe he will be the winner. I don't really think that's true. I don't think this is about how the media views the debate. They're going to call Biden the winner no matter what he does.
Right.
What matters is how people view this. Are they ready to basically fire Donald Trump after 4 years and hire Joe Biden? And it's really this, it's the battleground states, it's the swing vote, the soft Democrat, the soft Republican in these battleground states. Does the polling move? Does Trump's base get a new shot of momentum and enthusiasm? Does Biden do so poorly that even Democrats start to worry? Does this change the race in any meaningful way? Right now it appears Biden is ahead, at least nationally. I think the battleground states are very close. But I also see a significant enthusiasm advantage for Trump, and I think the Supreme Court battle is only going to increase that. So I think it's a very close and competitive race right now, and tonight's debate is going to just be absolutely fascinating. I would argue it's probably the most important televised debate we've had since 1980.
Let's talk about that Supreme Court nomination. Amy Coney Barrett, the nominee. I think she's a great pick. She's a great selection. I know you're going to be part of a team, Matt, that's going to be out there defending Amy Coney Barrett from some of these leftist attacks that I think for sure that we're going to see. I know there was one article today out saying that some Dems don't want this to be Kavanaugh 2.0, but we've already seen some of the attacks that are out there. What is your anticipation about her confirmation, and what do you think we're going to see coming her way as far as attacks?
Yeah, it's too late for that. They've already attacked her for, I don't even remember what the term was, colonialism, for adopting 2 African-American children. cultural appropriation for having the children with her when she was nominated. They've attacked her for being Catholic, going after this group that she's in South Bend, which is not an extreme group by any means. They've raised questions about whether she's a submissive wife to her husband, when in fact, from the introduction, you can see it's really almost the other way around, that he supports her more than she supports him. Look, I think the Democrats, if they're smart, they would focus on Roe versus Wade and on Obamacare. And I think to a great extent that'll be what they focus on in the hearing, which I think is set for October 12th. But when they get into these other personal areas, I think that's really risky. And while I don't know the Democratic senators will do that, certainly the progressive activists in the left wing will.
Yeah. And
that's going to get amplified on social media. And look, they have gone after her Catholicism, and I'm not even talking about just since she's been nominated. They went after it 3 years ago when she was nominated to the Seventh Circuit. And it wasn't just Dianne Feinstein's ridiculous phrase, "The dogma lives loudly within you." It was well beyond that. And in fact, they've done that with other judicial nominees too, going after membership of the Knights of Columbus. And of course, this all goes right against the Constitution, which says that the religious test is unconstitutional. So, I hope they learned some lessons from Kavanaugh. I mean, they had 4 Democratic incumbents who voted against Brett Kavanaugh lose in 2018 at a time when they were winning 41 House seats in the most advantageous political environment I've seen since 2006. So there's a lot of risk here for the Democrats during this confirmation battle.
We've had 2 Republican senators, Murkowski and Collins, who said they don't believe that there should be a vote. Republicans still have the votes as of right now. Do you think they hold on to the support that they need? And do you think there's any chance at all that Manchin breaks with the Democrats and votes with the Republicans on this pick?
Yeah, he broke with them on Kavanaugh, and he was able to win re-election in 2018 at a time when 4 of his Democratic colleagues lost. He has said he doesn't think it should happen before the election. Same position Collins and Murkowski have had. Murkowski has, I think, walked back a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me if she ultimately does vote for Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
Collins, I think, will probably vote against her. I think that's probably the best political decision for her, given her really tough Senate race. I would say Manchin's 50-50. He doesn't seem to care very much about what the sort of Democratic Party demands. He does what he thinks is in the best interest of the state and what he needs to do politically. I do think they have the votes. I think they've got 53 now without Manchin, without Murkowski, and without Collins. They may get to 54 or maybe even 55. It's going to depend a lot on how she does. I think she's going to do very, very well. If you go back and look at how she did in the Seventh Circuit, she did very, very well. She's just not only incredibly intelligent and impressive, but she's very disarming and humble, and that'll come across. I think the country's going to fall in love with her in spite of these attacks, and I think that started on Saturday with one of the best rollouts I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Matt, tell folks how they can sign up for the newsletter and also how they can listen to your podcast.
Yeah, the newsletter is called Must Read Texas. We take all the top news from around the state. We put it into one clean, easy-to-read email, and we deliver it to your inbox by 9 a.m. Subscriptions start at $3.50 a month. You can sign up for a free one-week trial at mustreadtexas.com. The podcast is called Mac on Politics. It's available in the iTunes Store, on Google Play, on Stitcher, and on Spotify.
All right, Matt, as always, appreciate your time, and have a good time tonight.
Take care. Enjoy it. See ya.
All right, that's Matt Mackowiak here on the Chad Hasty Show. News Talk KFYO.